Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by Gordon Cormier, the breakout star who plays Aang on the Netflix series Avatar: The Last Airbender. Gordon, I was watching some interviews you've done. I know you kind of talked about this, but I'd love to talk about when you were first approached for the project. It sounded like you maybe didn't know exactly what it was. Is that right? Or they kind of were you kept in the dark on what this actually was?
Yeah, I was actually completely lost at the time. I had no clue what the project was. It was under like code names and code characters, so yeah, I was pretty lost.
So when you went in, like, were you like, I guess, like, what were you expecting when you went in, even?
I mean, I didn't even know what to expect at the time. Originally, I turned down the role because I thought that the character was going to be like a big 12-year-old, and I was a small 11-year-old, and it seemed like a huge script to do in a day. So I turned it down, but then they called me back, so I was all in for it. But I was expecting it to be pretty big.
Right. So let me ask you, so once you got it, after you realized what it was, obviously, I guess what was like the first thing maybe you did, or what were your thoughts, I guess, once you were like, oh, I'm gonna actually do this?
I mean, it was huge for me because before that time, I've never really done a big role before. And for this to be my first ever big role to do with like such a passionate fan base it's really, I didn't even know what to expect.
So did you go back and watch the show, or like how did you kind of like how was your entry point into, I guess, Avatar in the first place?
Oh, yeah. So when I first booked it and they told me what the show was, I went on Netflix and immediately started binging it. Then I fell in love with the show and watching it 26 times later, I was pretty familiar with it.
So with Aang, like what did you, I guess, like playing him as a character, like what was your, obviously the show is different from the animated show, right? Like even though it's a live action show, but like so I guess what did you take away from watching the anime version that maybe was able to help you at all in playing Aang in the live action version?
Well, I feel like our show was just an idea for us to bring the original cartoon to life. And with that, some things have to change, obviously, because Aang can't be as, I don't want to say, I don't know what the word is for it. Animated, probably. Aang can't really be as animated due to it being a live action series. So I kind of just tried to bring his joy into the character as much as I could, while at the same time making it realistic
Right.
with his
I mean,
scenario.
right. Yeah, I think you do a great job of that. I mean, there's so much there's a lot of physicality with role, obviously, like that goes without saying. But so was there like a big training like how, what was like, was there like a boot camp or anything like that? Like, how did you kind of prepare for that aspect of it?
Yeah, actually, there was a 6 week boot camp, and it was really great. We had amazing instructors, and we did a lot of stunt training, wire training, and a lot of fight scene training. We did wushu and four other martial arts mixed in with it. It was Shaolin Kung Fu, Hungar Kung Fu. We got Tai Chi and Bagua, all mixed in with wushu.
And then were you familiar at all with that kind of like martial arts training at all, or was this like from starting at like ground zero, basically?
So from ages, I think 4 to 6 or 6 to 7 or something like that, I did Taekwondo. So coming into it, I thought that I was going to be crazy at this, but I definitely got humbled by my trainers. It was fun.
Yeah. How about like the aspect? How about like the mechanics of like the bending? Because that's such a big, like obviously such a key thing, and like it looks great on the show, right? Obviously, it's a match of like your performance and like physicality, and then the visual effects on top of it. But I guess like yeah, like how did you kind of like how did you figure that part of it out? I guess.
Yeah, that was actually the 6 week boot camp. So during that boot camp, I learned airbending. So throughout there, I kind of just got better at it more and more and more till I got it all mastered up like aim.
Got it. And then how about like in terms of like the visual effects? You have like you're in there is so much visual effects, right? Like Appa is like a
Yeah.
is not a real I'm assuming it's was there like an like what were you like for that? Like is there something on the set that you're like writing and then they're gonna put in, or like do you have to like play off of something? Like how did that whole thing work for you?
Well, actually, the whole top of Appa was 100% real. Like
Okay.
we had his whole upper body, and sometimes they'd throw a leg on it. But the rest of Appa was basically visual effects. But he was about, I want to say, 15 feet tall, 20 feet tall. Not sure how tall. And there's just mechanic giant thing. So it was really cool to work with.
Did
We
that
had
help
people
you?
like
Yeah.
turn and stuff.
Does that help you like with the performance too, having that physical representation of him there, basically?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
because when you're looking down off the Oppa configuration, you kind of just see the top half of it anyway, so it's almost like flying. And since we're on a big volume screen, we could see the sky too, and it was really cool. Almost felt like I was on Oppa.
That's so cool. Was that like, I mean, you mentioned like this is like a big, like a huge role for you, and like kind of like you've obviously been an actor before and done other things, but this is like you're leading this massive show. Was that, I mean, yeah, like what was that like to step onto like the volume and stuff? Does that like, how steep was that learning curve for you, I guess, or like to figure out like how like the mechanics of this making a show of this scale works?
Well, yeah, like I said earlier, I was only like 12 when I shot this, so stepping into such a huge role was really something different for me, but truly an honor with such an amazing show like this. Spearheading it was really amazing.
Was there like any like in terms of playing, and was there any like what was like when you're going getting ready preparing for this like for the, as an actor and stuff, was there something that you were like specifically like, oh, I'm not nervous about maybe, but like we're like I really have to get this part of the performance right, or like were you like kind of like studying like making sure you under like were able to grasp that part of it or anything like that?
For sure, crying scenes were something that were a little tough for me, but I always pulled through and it always turned out just as something I'm happy with.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, it's great. Like I said, I think you're doing a great job. You also get, like you mentioned, like, I think you mentioned, like, the ensemble is great too. Obviously, I think all the cast is really great. Did you guys,
They're
like,
amazing.
yeah, did you guys, like, I mean, the bond we see forming on the show, did that, like, mirror your experience with the actors, I guess, in real life?
Oh, 100%. During the show, we're really busy working, but during like our press tours and stuff, we really all got to know each other and we're close like family now.
Do you have, like, I mean, what, I guess, like you said, like, this is a really, a show that people really love, right? And the anime show, and I think this version as well, like the live action show, so very popular, big fan base. How has it been to like it now that it's been out there obviously for a while, but how has it been in seeing the response from fans, and have like you are they coming up to you and stuff like being like, oh my god, I love the show and stuff like that?
Yeah, actually, that's become a huge part of my life now. I think yesterday I got recognized 17 times, 15 in my breakfast restaurant. So it was really fun. It's something that's definitely a change, but it takes a little bit getting used to, but I like it now. It's awesome to see like the smiles on people's faces and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Have you know? Do you notice like are the fan? I feel like this is a show that would have fans like who are older and also younger, right? Because obviously, like fans of the anime are probably older now, right? Maybe they have their own kids or watching it. Have you noticed that like it's like a large, like a big spread of ages and people coming up to you?
Yeah, actually, I've done a couple Comic Cons and I see these families coming up to my booth, and it's almost as if the parents are more excited than the kids. So it's a really fun thing to see because, like, the parents will have watched the animated series, then got their kids to watch our series, and it's just really cool.
And I guess like what's the best thing like some or I guess like yeah like along those lines like what's the best thing someone said about like or someone said to you about the show or something you were like, oh wow, that's like really great to hear that they connected to it or responded to it anyway. Do you have any like thought like has something like that happened?
Well, actually, a lot of people have come up to me at Comic Cons, but at Comic Cons and really told me that we do have a tough fan base, but I did do my best and they liked it. So it's really sweet hearing that.
That's good. And obviously the show's coming back for two more seasons, right? Seasons two and seasons three, which is
Yep.
really cool. So I guess what would you say like how it like what are you excited about getting to go back to the character and kind of like going forward into the new seasons?
I'm actually really excited to interact with other characters this time because we have the little gang, but it's going to expand a ton, obviously, because new characters will come in. We'll get to work with new people, and I'm really excited for that too.
That's really great. Do you have like any who would you want who are you most excited to work with among the cast, I guess, that you haven't gotten to work with?
Ooh. I mean, doing more scenes with Dallas later on and even like Azula's crew is going to be really sick. But I'm really excited to meet the actress Toph because
Mhm.
it's going to be someone else my age on set. So,
Yeah, that'll be
yeah.
good. That's really good. And then I guess like how do you I mean like just in general before we like being like you said like you're a young man, you're like a teenager, like is it like yeah, how do you like maintain being a teenager with being on this big like a big show like this, or and how do you like try to like still be a teenager?
Well, yeah, actually, because the show, when I'm shooting, I have to go on to online school. But for the past year, I've been in regular school, which has been really great because the last time I was in public school was probably sixth or seventh grade. But throughout my breaks, I usually get to be a normal kid
That's
and
good.
get recognized 10 to 15 times a
Yeah,
day.
right. Exactly. Gordon Cormier, who plays Aang on the Netflix series Avatar: The Last Airbender. Thank you so much for doing this. It was really nice chatting with you.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem.